remote and yet undiscovered place in South America, where Andrea de cares in Salvador, directly from the capital of Guyana, Georgetown. They will teach us about this different South America. They represent if I'm not mistaken, the only DMC in the Guyana called Wilderness Explorers. Welcome, Andrea in Salvador. The microphone is yours.
Thank you so much. Well, we're about to go to the other extreme, I think.
I know, from the bottom of South America to the top of South America.
I'm going to
from the cold to the heat.
Share my screen if I can. Please let me know when you see it, and we'll make sure that we get the whole.
We see it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, yes, Wilderness Explorers is the only destination management company in Guyana. Tourism is very new to us here. And we have some very unique points of difference. Salvador was born in Guyana, so I should really let him take it from at this point.
I mean, we're very different and unique because we're South American, but our culture is more Caribbean. We actually play cricket. We're part of the West Indies cricket team, the only cricket team in the whole of South America. And of course, we speak English.
Kind of English.
And for example, you were just talking about drinks are included in Patagonia. Well, drinks are included in Guyana. The only problem is we have no wine here.
It's rum.
It's rum, the best in the world, but it's rum. And as much as you want. Everything about it, our first cover, the other very large difference that we have, it's a country that is, bigger than Uruguay, but we have less than a quarter of the population, 700 and maybe 800,000 people at the most.
Yeah.
And the majority of those people live on the coast, within a few miles of the coast, which is mostly below sea level, and all canals and dikes like in Holland. Again, very different, very unique. So once you leave the coast, there is nobody.
We're going to show you a little bit. So just so you can be oriented, if you look up here at the top, we like to say that Guyana sits on the shoulder of South America. Like it's sort of the gateway as you come in. And there are these three little countries here, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guyana.
One speaks English, one speaks Dutch, and the other one is actually a part of France. It's a département, so it's Euros and French.
And there is one main road from Georgetown all the way down to Lethem. So, like I said, we're dealing with a whole different type of tourism here.
And the road is it's only surface for the first 60 miles, and then it's just a rough road until you get to the Brazilian border, and then you cross over into Brazil, and it's perfect. The road is very good again.
So
you're back in the first world.
As you talk about differences, Guyana is not for everybody.
No.
And we're going to point out different things. It's a wonderful, fabulous experience, but making sure that your guests, that your clients understand what Guyana is very important. We like to, undersell and over-deliver.
Yes.
So what's important for you to understand is, as we said, Wilderness Explorers is a destination management company, the only one in Guyana. So we partnered with the Guyana Tourism Authority with funding through IDB and through the Canadian government to do all of the trainings for the lodges so that they could reopen safely and that we could be a safe destination. So that's just an important point we wanted to share with you.
And this is a picture of Georgetown. There are no mountains in sight. It's flat. It's 6 feet below sea level. There is a wall to protect us from, there's the wall to protect us from the ocean. And everybody lives behind that wall. And then when you go inland, you go for 25 miles, you come to the first hill.
Georgetown is very busy. It's a bustling capital. As we said, 95% of the population live on the coast. So you have traditional markets and fish markets. You can get anything in the market.
And another thing that makes us very different too, we have 16 national holidays in Guyana because we have a large Hindu East Indian population. After they abolished slavery, the British brought Indians from India to replace the slaves on the sugarcane plantations. So our food and our culture is very mixed. We get 16 public holidays because we get 3 national holidays, we get 2 Hindu holidays, we get 2 Muslim holidays, we get 3 Christian holidays. We have all the holidays you can think of.
Everybody celebrates
Everybody
everything.
celebrates everything.
Any excuse for a party.
So everybody eats curry all the time. Our architecture in Georgetown as well is very different. It originally all wood, made out of wood, but the houses are very open because you want to catch the breeze. You want to keep them cool. So the Demerara shutters, for example, that Andrea.
Whoops, sorry about that.
That
Okay.
Andrea is circling right there. Originally, we also have bauxite, which is the ore of aluminum. The bauxite ships would bring blocks of ice from the Great Lakes as ballast in the bauxite ships. You could then buy a block of ice and put it on the windowsill.
Right here.
That you can see there, closing your shutter, and that was the original air conditioning.
And it really
works. I've tried it.
So again, we're going to get past Georgetown to take you into the interior where you can really see what most of our guests come to Guyana to see.
But this is the largest wooden church in the world. It's completely made out of wood and it's really quite enormous. The Botanical Gardens is in the middle of Georgetown. That is a wonderful birding experience. There are well over 200 species of birds that can be found here. You can feed the manatees in the ponds. Again, it's the West Indian manatee that's found throughout the West Indies. So again, not in the rest of South America, except for Suriname.
But then you leave Georgetown.
Right.
And this is actually one of my own pictures from the plane. There's a little girl sitting next to me and she said, Auntie, look at all the broccoli.
That's right.
And I looked out the window and that's exactly what the rainforest looks like. It looks like a field of broccoli. So
this is rush hour.
Yes, it's really important that you understand how remote our tourism product is. If you are looking to go and meet a whole bunch of people, it's not going to happen.
That won't happen.
We get as many people in a year as Machu Picchu gets in a day. So this is a real point of difference for us, but it's also, again, because you're dealing with the remoteness, it's important for our guests to understand that.
And in the south of the country, there are these large open savannas that go all the way over into Brazil, over to Boa Vista and beyond. And it's really quite spectacular. And it's where the majority of the lodges are, because you have rainforest, you have savanna, you have riparian forests along the rivers. So there's a range of geography, and also for the birds go crazy because you've got a range 600-800 species is not unusual.
It's over 900 now.
At the moment for the whole country, yes.
And again, we have 9 indigenous tribes. And this is important because quite a few of our lodges in the Rupununi, which is the south part of Guyana, are community owned and operated. And what that means is that the village council serves as a board of directors. So that this business, these lodges are owned by the community. There's a tourism committee that operates the lodge. The village council decides how the profits from tourism are to be spent. And basically this creates work. This creates jobs where there were no jobs, where people where the men at a rate of up to 80% migrated out of the villages to make an income. Now they can stay at home.
And mostly they were making that income in the extractive industries like gold mining and timber cutting wood.
Right.
So to stop that, tourism helps to stop that. But your tourism dollars are also helping to preserve the culture and preserve the village. And
So there are two types of benefits with community-based tourism. One are the direct benefits. Those are the cooks and the guides and the boat captains. And then there are the indirect benefits to individuals within the community who sell fruits or do handicrafts or fish. This is one of the lodges. This is Sarama. It's community owned. These are the accommodations. You get your own hut. Again, very basic. There is no air conditioning. There is no hot water. But in this heat, you don't need hot water.
It's very different from Eola.
We also preserve the culture through indigenous cultural presentations. By doing shows for our guests, what it does is the elders are able to teach the traditions to the youth, so they are able to maintain their traditions. And it's quite amazing. All the costumes are handmade from cotton that's grown locally. And
the other thing is you don't kill the birds to get your feathers.
No.
There's a special arrow they use that has a ball at the end, and you hit the bird, it falls, you take a couple of feathers and then you let it go.
Conservation is a really, really big thing in Guyana. So I'm sure you've all heard about the oil find in Guyana, and then we have conservation and
Trying to balance it.
well,
but
tourism is the balance between the two.
that's right.
Right. So here are some of the activities that you can do at an indigenous eco lodge like Sarama, where you can go in a dugout canoe, go birding in the forest, go camping overnight, which is wonderful fun, but it is not 5-star. This picture is a picture of Rewa Eco Lodge. It's right on the water. The cabins, I don't know if you can't see from my cursor, but the cabins, we'll show them to you in a minute, are over here hidden within the forest. And the three main benabs you see, one is where you have your meals and the other two are also accommodations. These are the individual
Right.
ensuite.
So again, not very plush, but comfortable and really nice, comfortable beds, hammock with verandas with hammocks. The bathrooms at the back are walled, but open to the trees. So I remember one time at Rio, I was taking a shower and I looked up and there was a monkey, a howler monkey checking me out, kind of looking like, what are you? You know, you look like a monkey, but you're standing up straight. You know, it was really wonderful.
But though, you know, I mean, so managing guest expectations, yes, there are flushing toilets. Yes, there is running water. Yes, there are comfortable mattresses, but there is no air conditioning and there is no hot water. There's no cold water either.
Right.
It's temperate, which
Right.
is important.
You're 3 degrees north of the equator. There is no cold water.
But this is a Warami mountain and the view is just spectacular.
Just looking over the lungs of the earth.
At Rewa, you have your breakfast right outside next to the river. And also, if you see in the bottom right, you can have dinner under the stars as well. Catch and release sport fishing is a very big activity in Rewa, and we'll show you one of the fish and why. But you see the boat that they're fishing in, and they're catching the arapaima on the fly.
Which is the largest scaled freshwater fish in the world. In Brazil, you call it pirarucu.
But this, what they discovered at Rewa Eco Lodge, and this was a project that Wilderness was involved in, that the fish is worth more alive for catch and release than it is dead for catch and keep. You catch and keep it, you sell it one time, but catch and release, you can catch it over and over and over again. So you're protecting the fish and still providing the activity for the guests. These are just some of the other wildlife that you will see at Rewa.
That spider at the bottom is pretty big. It's
Yeah.
bigger than your hand.
We can go now. Tapir. This is Caranambo, and you can see from the air just how remote this lodge is. Again, it's really important. I love it when a guest comes to us and says, is there a store here where I can buy batteries? It's like,
yes, 60 miles away on the Brazilian border. Yeah.
So it's, again, important to let your guests understand how remote the locations are. To your right, at the bottom, you see the dining room of Caranambo. On the top right, you see one of the guest rooms. It's a beautiful place that it's got amazing, amazing biodiversity. So for the adventurous ones who are interested in wildlife, interested in birding, interested in fishing, Guyana is perfect. Giant river otters. These
Yep.
are wild giant river otters.
And you can go out at night in a boat and you look at the giant Victoria Amazonica water lily. It takes about half an hour to open, and you just watch this amazing flower open, and it's pretty spectacular.
The flowers are about the size of a dinner plate. They're
But
huge.
It's when we say remote, we mean remote. There is not even a plane flying overhead. There is nothing.
Here is a giant anteater
Out on the savannah.
right, with a baby on its back. And to be honest with you, when I first got to Guyana, I had lived in Zambia, so I was expecting herds of animals. Well, not so. Most of our animals are solitary, so you're very excited when you see an anteater. And if you see one with a baby, that's
It's pretty special.
yeah. There's a howler monkey, harpy eagle. We've got several active nests right now. So for your birders who are interested in specialized birding, harpies are, top of the line. This is Mapari Wilderness Camp.
Which is a very remote camp, and it's a hammock camp. You're in a hammock, but as you can see, your hammock has a mosquito net around it. It has a cloth floor. You're completely enclosed and completely protected. And honestly, it's really very comfortable. Every time I go in the bush and I come back to Georgetown, I have a very hard time sleeping in a bed.
This is Kaiman House. Kaiman House has two conservation projects going on. One is study of the black caiman. And they've been doing this now for almost 20 years. And guests are permitted to go in the boat behind the science boat. The boat in front snares the caiman, tapes their mouth, brings them up on a sandbank, and then the guests can come to watch them as they tag the caiman, weigh the caiman, measure the caiman.
And I remember when I first went on one of these trips and they turned it over and I saw that white belly.
Oh,
and
no.
I went, oh no, now I understand. Handbags and shoes
Well,
is what destroyed this poor animal.
it is because
it's pretty spectacular.
It is. It's absolutely magnificent. They also have a river turtle conservation where they go out and they collect the eggs and they protect the eggs till they hatch. Then they protect the babies until they...
For about a year, and then release them into the river. So the shells have hardened and the survival rate is quadrupled because the shells are hard. They don't get predated as much as when they're very young and still soft.
What I'd like you to notice is the children up at the top left. So we're passing on conservation generation to generation, and that's really important. And it also partners with tourism. Wichibai, which is in the south of Guyana, which is a cattle ranch. Again, inside you can see the cabins, very basic, comfortable, basic. Again, something that our guests need to understand. Here's a jabiru this one had 4 babies.
Which was very unusual.
This is Attalage. Attalage is the home of the canopy walkway. So to go up there at dawn and see the birds is a remarkable experience.
Last week they had 3 harpy eagles on the canopy, and there was a group of birders there, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing.
This is also just some of the wildlife that you might see at Attalage. Again, we really do a lot of dining outside and dining out under the stars at night. The main road that we told you about at the beginning, if you're
This is the main road.
If you're very, very lucky, you may get to see a jaguar.
Or there's 5 other cats also. We've got 6 cats here.
This is Iracrama. These are the cabins at the Iracrama River Lodge. And can you see in the middle of the screen 2 little white dots? Those are people having breakfast after having climbed Turtle Mountain. Here is the top of Turtle Mountain, and this is the view that you see from up there. Kaieteur Falls. This is the gem in the crown
Of Guyana's tourism. It's the highest single drop waterfall in the world. And for you Argentinians, yeah, and Brazilians, I know you have Iguazu, but I've had guests come here from Iguazu, and they say Kaichor really beats it by a lot.
Well, I don't know about that, but it is pretty spectacular.
But it's massive. It's the largest single drop waterfall in the world.
What's important for you to notice is that there are no railings, there are no buildings, there is
Nothing.
no commercial anything. What you see is exactly how it has always been.
It's natural.
It
Yes.
is very natural.
Just to let you know, I have about 1 more minute to go, okay?
Yes, we're just finishing up.
30 seconds.
Perfect.
These are the planes that take you around Guyana. The largest one is on the top left, and it has 19 seats.
That's it.
So our tourism is very, very small. This is Roraima, and you can take a helicopter up to Roraima. It's pretty spectacular.
And there is a marker at the top there, a little concrete marker, and you can put one hand in Venezuela, one hand in Brazil, and you can put your foot in Guyana.
And that's the end. And we thank you very, very much. If I can stop sharing, we thank you very much. And please get in touch with us if you have any questions or if there's anything we can do to assist.
Thank you so much, guys. On behalf of the community here who's placing some questions, I would like to suggest us to use the final minutes to wrap up and maybe answer those 2 questions that came here in the chat. Just a quick reminder, as Andrea said, you're all inside our internet hub, so you can definitely take your time reaching each other and one-on-one questioning. But since we are here and there's 2 brief questions that I would like, maybe each of you can answer one. And we want, like, Patricia is asking about the electrical outlets. I'm sure this is not the first person to ask that, so just a very technical specific question. And on malaria, if that's an issue at all. So maybe Andrea can answer that. And then there's a following up here very briefly about the lodges, because you guys said about the community-based experiences. And there's a question here about if the lodges are co-owned by the community.
Well, let's start with that one first. The lodges are owned by the community, not co-owned. They are 100% owned by the community.
The village council are the board of directors.
Yeah.
It's not an individual. I mean, we were at a show in Anchorage a few years back, and the Canadians were talking about community tourism, but what they were talking about was an individual living in a community that had a business. This is different. This is owned by the village.
Yeah, and everybody has an opportunity to work at the lodge. They work 1 month on, 1 month off, so that they share the roles. So it's a very unique model. And it provides income for the whole community, and it also provides a pension for the elders. It makes contributions to the school. Sarama Eco Lodge, as an example, sent 2 women to Cuba to become doctors, and when they returned, they had to work within the community for 2 years before they could go out and work within the medical field. The electrical outlets
in most cases, it's solar. So no hair dryers, no curling irons, no ironing clothes, anything that pulls heat. It pulls too much electricity too quickly, and the sun cannot replenish the batteries.
But you can certainly charge your camera batteries and that sort of thing.
That's easy.
Yeah.
But they'll explain all of that to you. And the outlets are American outlets. 110.
110?
Yes.
110.
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
And what was the other question? Was there another? I think
there was another.
There's a question about malaria, if that's an issue.
Oh yeah, yes. The only malaria we have here at the moment, and it was completely wiped out in the 50s and 60s in Guyana, but it has recently come back across in the gold mining area with the small garamperos and the Venezuelans coming over are the small operators, but the tourism product is not in those areas. For example, we were out on the savannah for 6 years. There was never a case of malaria anywhere.
Right.
But they're very careful. Everybody uses mosquito nets, and
But what we always say to our guests is it's a personal choice. Whether you take any anti-malaria medication, you should check with your doctor and your own specific situation. We don't tell you, don't take it, do take it. But I have been here, it's 13 years now, and I have never met anybody who has suffered from malaria, so.
But it is there. You can't say
exists.
it's not there.
Yeah.
But in very specific areas,
Right.
very remote specific areas in the gold mining area and closest to the border with Venezuela.
But not a
And
reason, not a
no,
reason not
no.
to come.
No, because you don't go there.
Andrea and Salvador, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was very inspirational. I think that almost no one knows almost anything about Guyana, and at least for me, it was very inspirational and made me very curious to visit there.
Please come.
For me, the more remote a place it is, the more I want to go. So, but this is thank you very much. It was very good to clarify that Guyana is not for everyone, and to be very transparent with this. So you make sure that people who go there, they know what they are going to find, and they will have the best, an amazing experience.
That's right.
We had two Scottish brothers that came when we were at Carnambo, and every year the wives go to remote locations, but then the two of them would leave the wives at home and go to remote. And they kept saying to us, don't change anything, because it's very hard to find really remote places now. They tell you it's remote, but you get there and you can hear a car horn and you can hear something.
Yes.
In Guyana, there's no people. So
It is the perfect place for the perfect guest.
Yes.
But it's not the perfect place for everyone.
No.
Exactly. Thank you very much.